vision that leads to unimaginable consequences. Based on a novel by the name of This Is the Way I Was Saved by Brian DeLue, the film was announced in the summer of 2018, with Adam Mortimer working closely with the novelist in penning the script and also taking the director's reins for the second time after 2015's Some Kind of Hate. The film had its premiere at South by Southwest March of 2019 and was met with excitement and acclaim from critics. Overall, Daniel Isn't Real is very multi-layered with the story it's telling, bringing in cosmic horror themes with gruesome body horror elements that are sure to get a reaction sooner rather than later. Miles Robbins and Patrick Schwarzenegger are very much Hollywood royalty, but both prove that they have strong acting chops and the ability to make a name for themselves entirely on their own. Mix in a great and super weird score by Clark, and you have a very effective and even disturbing film that is sure to delight horror fans across all subgenres. Check out the film on Prime or Tubi right now. Thank you.
Nice.
All right, so since Ashlee is our kind of woman of the hour, the guest, special guest, what did you think about this film? I know you hadn't seen it before either, so it's a fresh watch for both you and James. So I want to pick your brain a little bit about what were your first thoughts about this film, coming out of the gate.
Well, I definitely think that the storyline was amazing. Really well done, really well executed. Being a hairstylist and makeup artist, it did not pass by me that the makeup and effects in the movie were super interesting and phenomenally done. I personally really liked it and thought everything was. I'm really curious as to how they made the monster, the abyss monster's face. I thought that was really cool. Other than that, I really like every single character that Luke came into contact with and their role in how Daniel reacted differently to all of the people that were around Luke. I thought that was really interesting.
I thought it was really cool. I saw it as a kind of coping mechanism for Luke as a kid, and extreme trauma, how that affects someone, manifesting an imaginary friend. But then you find out that later on that he's a little more than an imaginary friend. Kind of early on you figure out that he's more maniacal. Yeah,
basically there is so while you bring that up, let's talk about that a little bit deeper. When the movie starts, it and you texted me as you saw this scene, it basically starts with this kind of happy moment in a they do this credit sequence that's very cosmic darkness, very kind of Sam Raimi-ish intro, yeah. And then we kind of step into this happy kind of scene in a random coffee shop, and then this kind of younger guy walks in with a 12 gauge and just blows a bunch of people away out of context, and then we cut to Luke as a child, and his parents are clearly fighting, and we're hearing some kind of whispers in the background about maybe his mom's mental health is declining and she's having issues, and the dad can't take it, and he wants to basically take her to see some doctors, and it's a very kind of violent scenario happening. So then Luke, as a kid, he kind of runs out of the house, runs away, and ends up coming down the block to where this kind of, how do you say, crime just happened, where with the shotgun, and sees the aftermath. I think the body of one of the baristas is like hanging off out of the the door frame, and as a kid, he just kind of creeps on by the tape and sees this horrific vision that no kid should see, especially at that age. Doesn't know how to quite accept,
processes it.
Yeah, process it. And right there, instantly, he kind of turns to his side, and Daniel, as a child, appears and says like, "Hey, as a distraction, you want to go play?" And then they go, and they play, and you don't really think too much of it. And then his mom ends up coming to find out where he's gone, where Luke is gone, and she's like, you need to come home now. Let's go. And Luke looks at her and he's like, yo, can Daniel come? And she's like, who's Daniel? I don't understand. What do you mean, Daniel? And he's like, yeah, Daniel's right here. Can he come over to play? And she's like, realizes, oh, it's an imaginary friend that he's made up. So she kind of looks down, but she's not looking at where Daniel was actually standing. She's kind of staring off into the air. And she's like, all right, Daniel, like, let's go then. But yeah, so then, Daniel comes over to play, and they're kind of playing like in this, it's weird, they're like playing with brooms and stuff, but then you end up seeing like how they're seeing it, and it's like they're in this kind of castle scenario, and everything is kind of good for a little bit, and then Daniel ends up like basically telling Luke like, hey, take this medication and put it in your mom's smoothie, and it's going to give her superpowers. And then it's like a very dark comedy, but he just drops the entire fucking jar of pills in the
he's like, okay.
Yeah, and he just dumps all of the fucking pills in this like smoothie thing. And then we cut to the mom, and she's having very obvious stomach cramps and stuff, and she realizes that Luke is responsible for poisoning her, and that's when the film takes a turn where she's like, okay, why would you do this to me, honey? And he's like, I didn't, it was Daniel's idea. So then what I love about this movie is that the mom doesn't belittle the kid and what he believes. She plays along with it. Whether she believes it or not is up for speculation, but she goes, you know what? All right, well then, you gotta let Daniel go, you know what I mean? And then they come up with this little plan to lock him away in this kind of, I think it's Luke's grandmother's old, like, huge, kind of creepy dollhouse thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is insane.
That has a lock for some reason.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. And and then she's like, you got to tell him to basically forbid him from leaving this dollhouse, and he does. Luke as a kid, he's like, get in, very like Looper kid, and he succeeds. He locks away, the dollhouse, and things get better for him. And then we kind of fast forward to, was it like 10 years?
Yeah, I think so.
And we meet Luke again, and he's Miles. Obviously, everybody's older, and he's very kind of awkward kid, but he seems like he has a good heart. You know what I mean? And where do we go from there? His mom is,
he
goes to visit her.
What was that?
Right?
And he goes to visit her, and it's very obvious that her mental health is like plummeted from the last time we saw her on screen.
Well,
yeah, she has like newspapers and cutouts and stuff all over the walls.
That's right.
He's like obsessing over.
Yeah, he goes home, and her house is kind of like just
shambles.
Yeah, and she kind of explains to him that she's like hearing, or like she's receiving messages in these book pages, passages, and that's why she's like taking them out one by one and plastering them all over. And then he sees, Luke sees like claw marks on the mirrors, and he's like, yo, what happened here? And she's like, oh, I didn't like how I looked or something. So there's very clearly like some schizophrenia maybe happening,
And all he wanted was to have lunch with his mom.
Yeah.
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 She wouldn't eat the ham and cheese sandwich.
And the, and I feel like the film is very good at tricking you into thinking that Luke is suffering from the same thing that his mom has. Like it's a hereditary type deal, when of course we realize that it's not later on, but
yeah, that's one of the questions he asks his therapist, if those types of like mental illnesses are passed down genetically.
And I mean that's a very good point, and it could have been, and then his damn therapist tells him the wrong thing. He's like, you have you had an imaginary friend as a kid, and he's like, yeah, it was this kid named Daniel, and we locked him in the dollhouse, and he was trying, but the therapist is trying to get him to open up about why they had to kind of banish Daniel, and he wouldn't tell him. So maybe
right.
that was Luke's mistake for not being completely honest, and maybe things would have had a different outcome. But for whatever reason, Luke stays quiet and doesn't tell him, what actually happened when he was a kid, and so the therapist tells him kind of point blank, like, you should maybe revisit Daniel and your past, and maybe you can overcome a lot of these difficulties that you're having now.
I don't think he said revisit Daniel. I think it's just, lean more into your imagination, and Daniel just magically popped up. Because it doesn't really like show him unlocking the dollhouse. It just shows him getting the key, and then Daniel's there.
Okay. So it's kind of just hinted at.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, Daniel, it's like once Luke does something in his mind where he allows Daniel to fully come back into his life, and now Daniel is magically the same age as Luke, and it's fucking Patrick Schwarzenegger. For anybody out there who doesn't know, that is Arnold's kid, the Terminator's kid.
He totally killed it though.
Oh yeah, dude.
I love his character. I'm like, dude, this guy's style is killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, just this. He has this overwhelming kind of swagger about him, where you're supposed to, kind of despise him, but you're actually like love him. He
kind of gave me that guy from the Kardashians vibe.
Which one, Scott?
Yeah.
Oh no! Oh no! That's funny. That's what you say.
Well, you can't tell me that it's not. You can't see it a little bit, like with the slick back hair and like the nice dress.
Yeah.
He didn't wear any polo shirts, but.
Damn, what was my point? But yeah, I feel like his portrayal, and you can stop me if you think I'm wrong, but his portrayal of Daniel and his charisma and stuff, it reminded me a lot of Tyler Durden in Fight Club in a lot of ways,
That's exactly what I thought when I saw him, and they like went to that party, and it's him in the back with the sunglasses. I'm like, Tyler Durden. What?
Yeah.
Obviously, this is like a kind of horror version of it, but I feel like there's probably some, whether it be subconscious or not, but some influences there, and you can also see like they're taking things from Requiem for a Dream, and what are some other good ones? Just even like Mandy and like the lighting techniques and everything.